Hey Dan, do you remember the 70s?
Yeah, you remember paint decaying everywhere?
Yeah, man. Oh man, you remember people like sitting in the kitchen of a restaurant smoking cigarettes while they're peeling your potatoes?
Yeah, man. You remember painting a line over a pipe in an office?
Oh yeah, man. You remember the dirtiest looking taxis you've ever seen in your life?
Yeah, you remember the dirtiest looking police office you've ever seen in your life?
Yeah, man. Man, you remember Shaft?
Do you remember who was it? It was that Black Private Dick and Dick meaning detective, obviously. I'm no pervert.
Oh, for sure.
But granted, this
Who
man
is?
was a sex machine to all the chicks.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
Who
The
was
only
who
person
was
who
who was
understood
that?
him was his lady.
Right. He was also the man that
Horace
would risk
Mann.
he would well, maybe, because he would risk his neck for his brother man, for
Right.
sure.
Yeah, Shaft.
Yeah. I mean, that cat wouldn't cop out even if there was danger all about, you know?
Shaft.
John Shaft.
That's his name,
He's
Jonathan.
a
His name
bad mother.
Shaft.
Shut your mouth. I'm talking
Mother
about
ass shut your
Shaft.
mouth.
So, we watched Shaft,
We shafted.
right? All over the place, really.
Well, a
Shaft
little bit of the place.
most of my Shaft got pretty much everywhere. Let me
Mine was pretty isolated to my television, I think.
yeah,
But
well, to
I mean,
each
I
his
get
own.
it.
So,
Teach his own what? What is he owning?
Shaft?
Well, you can't. I mean, you can't do that
I
anymore.
I mean, it's a part of my body. I think
I mean, yours maybe, but not John.
I didn't well, that's mine's that's what I call mine.
John Shaft?
Well, just John,
Mm,
you know.
not John Shaft.
No, that's ridiculous. Why would that's like calling it's like calling my hair John Hair. Like, what are you, fucking stupid or something?
Shaft.
John Shaft.
Right.
No one
Who
understands.
Daniel does not own.
Correct. I own my own shaft.
Right. Not his own
It's
John.
attached to my. Well,
If
I do
John
also.
means bathroom,
Sure. Yeah. Or if John means my shaft, which it
but
might.
it might. We watched Shaft. Y'all
Yeah.
like Shaft? Y'all shafting? Are y'all shafters?
What?
You know, just like that's what I feel like John Shaft, if he was a TikTok influencer in 2024, would call his
Right.
followers.
Sure. Yeah. Where my shafters at? Shaft heads, maybe.
Right.
Um,
Shafts.
Shaft Nation.
Ooh, what about
Maybe.
Johners?
Um. Ooh, my little John Juniors.
Ooh, Little Johns?
My
Just
little
Little
John.
Johns? From the
Oh,
window
what
to the
about
wall.
Shafties? My Shafties,
Oh,
like
Shafties.
Swifty.
Yeah, no, I'd
My
probably be
Shaft. That's
Shafties.
yeah, for sure. It'd be Shafties.
But John Shaft would never do that.
No,
At least not this John Shaft. Maybe
no.
one of the
A
newer,
Train John Shaft probably would. I
probably
don't. I don't
did in the
remember that.
movie.
Probably. I don't. Again, I don't remember it that much. But we'll get there in about a
We
month.
will. Yeah. No, no. So Shaft,
Who's
if
the
you're
Black Private?
unfamiliar, is a black exploitation film series that has
Right.
been going from 1971 until
Till
2019.
till 5 years ago was the last one,
Yeah, and there will be
which
more.
which they had one sort of reboot.
Sort
But
of, but at the same
there
time, it's
wasn't a
a
reboot. It was
continuation.
also it was almost I guess a requel. I guess
Yeah, I
technically,
guess probably an early requel.
technically, yeah, an ill-defined requel.
But
I don't know.
and then
The term is already
they
ill-defined. It means nothing. It's nonsense
yeah,
speak.
and then they went back on the requelness of it later and, like,
Right,
retooled
then they
it.
they retconned that requel and yeah, but we will get there. We will.
For sure, that yeah, that's not the point.
Trust the process,
But the
and
point is
results will
this,
follow.
the movie is about
The point is that no one
a
understands about his
private
villain.
detective,
Yes, named John Shaft.
named John Shaft in the Blaxploitation era, and he just goes on sort of misadventures.
Yeah, he's
Um,
just, just a guy. It's just man trying to survive in
It's just
Harlem,
Shaft in Harlem.
where
Charlem.
all the cabs are just horribly, disgustingly
Horrible. God,
dingy.
they're so
Maybe
disgusting.
that was a Harlem thing. Maybe that was a New York thing. Maybe that was just a '70s thing. I don't know,
And the
but
numbers were like spray painted on the
yeah.
side with like a rattle can. But yeah, no. So this first Shaft movie kind of kicked this off, and Shaft is
This
a
was
fairly
a
important. I'm probably not. Neither of us are the person to talk
no.
about
We're not the right
this.
people to talk about Shaft for sure.
Well, in general,
I
but
have a
this
mullet.
specifically.
Come on,
That's right. Right. I mean, look at me, right?
right?
But the Shaft movies are very much a I mean they're like a 70s African American just like art, I guess,
Yeah,
almost.
it's yeah, John Shaft is a '70s black icon for sure.
Right,
Just a
right.
black icon in general, I guess.
Defining an era, defining a generation of Black
Right.
America. And so while we're not the people to necessarily talk about that, we like
No,
movies.
I
This is
do
a
like movies. I
movie.
do like Shaft, you know?
I like a this movie.
But yeah, John Shaft,
Richard
he,
Roundtree, the
Richard
actor.
Roundtree, rest in peace.
I don't know if
Uh,
he's been in anything else.
Probably. He's at least been in 3 movies titled Shaft.
Well,
Just
yeah, but
Shaft.
I more meant like
He has been
as
don't no,
anyone
don't.
other than
He has been in 3 different movies, all with the same title. They're all just called Shaft.
he had a movie that came out this year called Thelma. A
When did he
93
die?
or a 90 I
Super
thought a long
optimistic.
time ago when a
I mean, it was like a
93-year-old
couple years ago,
Thelma
I thought.
Post gets duped by a phone scammer pretending to be her grandson, she sets out on a treacherous quest across the city to reclaim what was taken from her. It played
Word?
at Sundance. He was in Steel, starring Shaquille
Like the Shaq
O'Neal.
movie? Like Shaquille
Yeah.
O'Neal? Like based on the DC Comics hero?
Yes.
The Superman, the Iron Man, Superman guy?
Um, he was in Theodore Rex. That's
What?
crazy.
The shit is a Theodore Rex.
So yeah, he hasn't he appears to have not been in a
He's pretty much
ton.
just Shaft, yeah.
I
Like
mean, he's Shaft.
he's still gonna get some work here and there, but he's Shaft, you know.
He's done a lot of little bit parts, but I don't think he's been the main character in anything. He was in Roots, which I mean that was big.
LeVar Burton was
Yeah,
Kunta Kinte.
he certainly hasn't had any franchise potential. Not that that's what it's about, clearly,
Right.
but
Other than Shaft, of course.
right. Other than Shaft, there's a movie called Q in 1982. Why would you
Just
name your movie
like the letter.
Q? Yeah, just the
Cool.
letter.
Like the guy from James Bond.
Right. He was in a movie called Maniac Cop in '88.
Wait, I've heard of that one. That's not on our to be list, but it was
It's adjacent for sure.
yeah, it's close for sure. I remember seeing that when I was looking for some, and it's definitely an RLM movie for
It
sure.
seems like lately he's been in a lot of like film festival type movies.
Right. Well, he hasn't been much lately.
Thelma, moving
I
on.
mean,
Well,
the
yeah.
death and
So
all.
he died in October of last year. So he died,
Right.
under a year ago.
Yeah. Okay.
The movies that he had filmed prior to his death are coming out. At least Thelma, which might be his
Right.
last movie, which would be so
Yeah. Well, no,
sad.
I imagine they'll drop Louise next. You know, sequel.
Right. He was apparently in Speed Racer from 2008.
Really? That's awesome. We should watch Speed Racer
We should. I don't know
podcast.
what Sweep. Maybe just like Fast Sweep, and it's just like movies about racing.
That's a like a anime thing, isn't it? We had a live action anime,
I
or
don't
it's a
think
cartoon. It's
so.
not
I think it was
it's a
just a
cartoon.
cartoon. Yeah, live action
Whatever,
cartoon.
live action cartoon. We could do either way. We'll
Um,
work. Animes are cartoon. I don't care about weeb nerds. They're
but yeah,
stupid.
so Richard Roundtree plays John Shaft, who's been in lots of things, none of them of importance other than Shaft and
Yeah.
Shaq.
Right. Kind of. Yeah.
He was
Uh,
Richard Roundtree was in Shag.
so before Dalton, before you break down this titillating plot for us, um, I'm gonna say, everyone listening, all two people, go ahead and send this video to a non-biological aunt or uncle. So someone
Mm.
like an aunt or uncle through marriage. Even if maybe it's like an aunt or uncle that like divorced your aunt or uncle, but you're still kind of close with them. They still maybe show up to family reunions or whatever. Send it their way.
Yeah, they like
If you know someone named John
mm.
or Shaft
Which
somehow,
the second one is less likely, I
for
think.
sure less likely. But yeah, send it to that
Send it to a
person for sure.
Jonathan.
I mean, it doesn't have to be a
No, I
Jonathan,
mean, it could just be John with, like, an N.
right? Extra points if you send it to, yeah, just Jon without the H. You know,
We're giving away points?
yeah, for sure.
Send
You
this
didn't
to
know that.
somebody who
Points.
used to buy you alcohol when you were underage.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Like
That's a
like a
good
f
one.
it could be a family member,
Right.
it could be
Or
a friend, it
just
could be
like
like
older
a
friend,
friend's
whatever.
older brother
Sure,
kinda
sure,
thing.
yeah.
But yeah, send this to your ex-alcohol supplier.
Yeah, or your current one, maybe you're underage. Maybe that's
If you are
happening.
underage,
Stop. No,
don't
I'm not.
drink.
Don't do that. It's bad. But
But go
actually,
ahead
no, I
and
don't.
send this
Yeah,
video
but
to your
send it to if
supplier.
you
Yeah.
do, send it to them.
Yeah, for sure. Still send this, but also, hey,
No,
make good
I'm
choices.
not gonna, yeah, I'm not gonna get behind that decision. You should, if you're between the ages of 18 and 21, keep drinking. If you're under 18, um, don't I guess, or do. It's kind of more fun that at that point in, but you shouldn't. It's bad.
It's bad. It's bad. We're not going to promote the crime, Daniel.
It's not good. It's not good, but it's like, I think, yeah, I'll promote underage drinking between 18 and 21.
I won't.
I will. I've been
For
registered in the
you.
draft since I was 17. At any point, the U.S. Army could pick me up and throw me overseas.
But
That's
they
it.
didn't because they looked at you and they were like, nah,
Right?
we
This
don't
guy,
want
like, no, this guy's been drinking since he was 17. We don't want him.
this guy. This guy would get blown away
So,
with a substantial
if you
win.
don't want to get drafted, drink under eight. Nope. That's Dalton. What's Shaft about?
Shaft. Shaft opens with the opening credits of Shaft.
Oh, it certainly does. It certainly does.
And
The opening
it's John Shaft in
credits.
a trench coat, a
Yeah,
brown leather trench coat,
yeah, it's
walking
awesome.
through the streets of New York City. And every
Yeah,
now and then it'll just go, Shaft.
right. And
Um,
also Isaac Hayes is sort of singing, but mostly just
Mostly talking.
talking.
Yeah,
It's
it's pretty much all
sort of,
talk.
yeah. So it's sort of in a like sing-songy tone, like it's
Mhm.
it's not just monotone talking. Like he's got a little bounce in his voice, a little
Right. He's like,
whatever.
who's
Who is
gonna
the man?
who's
Have sex
gonna
with a lot of chicks in this
smack
movie?
another man in the face with a bottle of whiskey? Shaft.
Who is the man who will duck out of the way and another man will dive out the window of his office?
Shaft.
John Shaft.
Who's the man who's gonna get into the dingiest cab you've ever seen?
Shaft.
Shaft. Right. So he's
And
walking,
that's
and
the
then
movie.
that's it. That's it. We're done. No, we are 15 minutes into this, by the way.
Well, then get going. Come on, hurry
Um,
up.
so so Shaft's white cop friend comes up to him, who's his boss, I think, and he's like, or not
He's
his
not really
boss,
his boss.
because
He's a
Shaft is
private
a private
detective.
detective. He comes
But
up to him
but
and he's like,
presumably like
"Hey,
friend, business associate, like they work on cases together. He throws
right."
cases his way.
It's
He's
a
whatever.
Lasted or Sean Spencer
Sure,
situation.
yeah, yeah.
So he comes up to him and he's like, "Hey, Shaft, people are asking about you everywhere. You've got to get a handle on what's happening." Right? And so
Right.
Shaft's like, "Shaft, And
He says, "I'm
then
gonna go get laid."
he does say that. Yeah, he's got a lot of one-liners. I'm not gonna quote them throughout the plot, but Daniel
Right.
will
I
come in
might.
with them. Yeah.
I might, if I
Um, so
remember them.
so Shaft, I think he goes back to the detective's office to talk about who's been looking for him, and they determine it's this guy named Buster Bluth. What's his actual
Please.
name?
It was Byron Bluth. He just goes by Buster.
Right. What was his actual name, though? It was Buster something.
Bumpy Jonas?
Bumpy Jonas.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was this guy named
Played
Bumpy
by actor
Jonas.
Moses Gunn. He's great
Yeah,
in the role. He comes
Moses
back in the
Gunn,
second one, I think.
Bumpy Jonas.
Bumpy Jonas.
Yeah, so basically Shaft gets jumped in his office,
So
right?
sort of, yeah. Well,
There's some
he
dudes in his office when he
yeah.
comes to his office. He gets a haircut, he gets his shoes shined
He gets
first.
his shoe shined. Yeah, that's the first person who tells him there's people looking for him.
I thought it was the
Or
cop.
no, it was because he comes out of the shoe shine, then the cop tells him. But first, the his shoe shiner was like, there was some cats looking for you. One of them looked stupid and had a dumb coat, but the other one was fresh.
One of
It
them
was
had a haircut where
yeah.
it looked like he was bald in the middle of his head. We'll
And
get
one of
there.
them had the most ridiculous balding pattern
Hairline I've
ever.
ever seen. No, so he gets jumped in his office, and some dudes, the dudes that were looking for him, they're in his
Yeah,
office,
Bumpy
and
Jonas,
they're
the Bumpy
fighting him.
Boys.
The Bumpy Boys. They're fighting him. It's a really cool fight scene. One of them launches himself out the
One of them,
window.
yeah, like he tries to like tackle Shaft, and he just like crouches down. He's just flying out the window.
Yeah,
It's
he literally
awesome.
launches
So
himself
silly.
out the
Yeah,
window. Um, and then the other one goes back, like Shaft beats him up, and he's like, "Yeah, go tell the man who's looking for me that he can't find me because I'm John Shaft."
right.
Right? That's what he
Basically, yeah,
says.
pretty much. Yeah,
Spits blood on the wall,
yeah. He did. He
which
spit blood
is
on his his already dingy looking
yeah,
fucking.
it was already
Heavy
dingy, but like, I
body.
mean, come on. You
Yeah,
know how hard it is to get blood off a wall?
yeah. Probably not that hard because I don't think it was there in the next scene that took
No,
place in
it
that
was. It
office.
was
Was
back
it really?
later. Yeah.
Hmm.
It was there throughout the rest of the movie,
Yeah.
I think. It'll probably be there in
Good on
Shaft
them.
3.
Probably not. I don't, I don't think so, but
Probably be
maybe
there
it
in
was just
Shaft
after 3.
2000.
I doubt it, but it could be. I haven't seen that one,
Right,
so
me either. Yeah, so this is when Shaft gets called back into his boss's office, no, his friend, detective friend's
his
office.
buddy, yeah,
Buddy
Vic
cop,
is his name.
yeah, Victor.
He's got a mustache.
Yeah, Ron Jeremy, the cop. He gets called back into
Right.
his office, and this is when kind of we see that there's a little bit not of a disconnect between him and Shaft, but like um it's it's
No,
not that
no,
they're against each other, but
I
he's
think
like, "Hey."
disconnect. I think works because they are on the same side. Like they're talking like they want the same thing, but Shaft can't. He can't turn his back on the street.
Right.
He's
Well, yeah,
a
Shaft's
man
got
that would
things
risk
to
his
do. You know what I
right.
mean? Like Shaft's got a shaft.
Right.
And this man wants him to not shaft. He wants him to do other things other than shaft, but he can't not shaft. But
That's
he
all he
says
knows how
something
to do.
along right. He says something along the lines of like, how many bodies are we gonna have to find before we
Yeah.
arrest you or whatever? And they keep threatening to arrest Shaft. And at one point, this guy's even like, hey, you're black, I'm white, I will arrest you, is basically what he says. But he says it nicer, it's somehow.
Close to that, yeah.
But that's basically the idea. And so we've set up the tension here. We have Buster who's chasing Shaft and wants him. His name's not Buster. What's his name?
It's Bumpy.
Bumpy. That's why is that
It's
so hard?
arguably more ridiculous than
It is,
Buster.
yeah. So we have Bumpy, we have Shaft, who's the good guy, and then we have the detectives, and they're all three against each other, right? So the detective is against Shaft, Bumpy's against Shaft, Bumpy is against the or
The detective isn't really against Shaft. The detective the detective's bosses are against Shaft. The detective is
Yeah,
just
but
kind of
the detective is
he's
not against Shaft in the sense that he's like, I'm gonna arrest you or I'm gonna kill you. But he is against Shaft in the sense of, hey, if you don't get it together, I can't help you anymore. There's tension there, is
right.
kind of what I'm
There's
getting
for
at.
sure tension, yeah. But he's still like he's like you can tell he's like his buddy. He's like, come on, man. You gotta
He's
throw
the
me a
boss
bone.
who loves him but is a little annoyed at him, kind of thing.
Right.
And then Bumpy wants to take Shaft out. The detective wants to take Bumpy out. Shaft is working for Bumpy. So we have this nice little like
Yeah.
what's the little spiral, Hibonacci spiral or whatever?
The
Fibonacci?
Fibonacci sequence. Yeah.
Yeah, we have that going on, but it's
Sort of. Yeah. This this movie follows the Fibonacci sequence. Sure.
right,
That's a
but
new one.
it's with people like against each other. It's
Yeah.
very interesting because you don't see a ton of this. Normally, it's like, here's a good guy, here's the bad guy. This time, it's like the good guy is working for the bad guy, and the gooder guys are working.
The good guy is working for the bad guy and he's also sort of working adjacent to the good guys who are working against the bad guy for whom the main good guy is working for. And
Right. It's the Fibonacci
also
sequence.
and also the mafia gets involved for
We'll get
like
there.
30
Not
minutes at
that's
the
like
end. We'll get
that's a
there.
well, yeah, that's a
And
whole other thing.
the like Black Panthers sort of group
Yeah,
is
we'll get there. Well,
there
that's well,
also.
we're almost there. So
Just I'm just trying to
Shaft
summarize.
Shaft calls Bumpy Buster.
Right. Bumpy who answers on the most fucking ridiculous looking
Oh,
phone ever. It's
which
like the
at this point it probably would have been like 20 years old.
sure, yeah.
Which is not that silly,
It's
like, it'd
not
be
that
like one of
old, yeah.
us it'd be like in a modern movie, somebody answering on a landline, and you'd be like, "That's
Right.
interesting,"
That's
but
strange, but it's like, yeah.
but in this movie, it seems ridiculous, but everybody's also using rotary
But
phones,
it also I mean,
so
it works and it looks cool when he does it.
right. I would use one of those phones today
Oh,
if I still
for
had a landline.
sure.
Anyway, so he answers and Shaft basically tells him, "Hey, come see me in my office." And this is when we're introduced to the man with the ridiculous hairline, but we don't see his hairline. 'Cause
Right.
he's
And well,
he's
yeah, yeah.
he's
He's got
Buster's, like,
that.
bodyguard. Bumpy,
Right,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. He's Bumpy's
Oh, yeah,
bodyguard.
Bumpy and Willie was the hairline one.
Willie and Bumpy. He's his bodyguard. They come to Shaft's office. Shaft is late, and he's like, "Hey, you better not be late." This is when we realize that the door was boarded up with, like, ridiculous, like, 2 by 2s.
Yeah, it was
Not even
like
2 by
not
4s.
even it was like, yeah, like 10 probably like 10 2x2s just miscellaneously placed, like, just sort of covering what seemed like just a bit of like not even a fully broken out glass, like, door, whatever. It's like broken, like, right, just like a little crack in the middle,
Is very
So
silly.
silly.
It was very, very silly. But they did break it earlier, so I get it. But anyway, so
Yeah,
they come in his office. This is when the plot kicks off. So the plot doesn't kick off for this movie until about 15 minutes in. It's a 70s thing, but it's
right. That's
fine.
just yeah. The movie's gonna be paced like a '70s movie. What are you
Um,
gonna do?
so yeah, so this is when Buster, Bumpy,
Yeah,
Busty,
Busty Jonas, Busty
Busty Juice,
Jones. Well, Shaft was among them. Yeah.
right?
Do not look up the name of the second Shaft novel. Bumpy. We find out the Bumpy's daughter has been kidnapped. He says he doesn't know who. It's there was no note, and he wants to enlist this private dick's service. So he's like, you're the only one that can help me. You're I don't remember how he says it, but he's like, you're one of us. You're from the streets, but you got your hand in Whitey's pot. So
It's
you
something.
can
Yeah,
help
he
us
almost
from
says it
all
verbatim
angles.
like that.
It's
Yeah,
yeah. I think the
he's
Whitey's
like,
pot was verbatim, but yeah,
yeah. Well, he's like, hey, you work with the police, but also you know the streets, and so you can
right,
help
You are the only one who can help me find my
Right.
my
You're
baby
the
daughter.
only one who can help me rescue my daughter from the we find out later it's the
Yeah,
mafia.
it's the mob, but he says he doesn't know, and
Right,
yeah,
he says he doesn't know who kidnapped her at this point. He says she's straight, like, she's going to
right.
college,
Oh
like,
well, actually, no.
she's
He this is when we get the Black Panthers group set because he says Ben Buford what maybe had something to do with it, and that's why
right.
Shaft goes to look, and Ben we later learn was like Shaft's buddy growing up, like they were friends or something.
Well, because after this, we get a montage,
Yeah, it's just
which is
It's just
awesome. I
Shaft.
love a good
Yeah,
montage, and it's
exactly.
literally just Shaft, and he's going around to
It's
different
just, yeah, him
people.
walking around and talking to people. It's
There's no
great.
it's not like a fight montage, it's nothing like that. He's literally knocking on doors, and he's like, "Hey, you know this guy?"
Hey, yeah, Ben Buford? No, okay, see ya.
Right.
That's
So
great.
yeah, so then he finds Ben Buford, who is a Black Panther type
Mhm.
revolutionist kind of
Yeah, a
guy.
black revolutionary. That's the word I'm going for. Yeah,
Yeah, and so he finds him and he's like, "Hey, I had nothing to do with the kidnapping, whatever." They have a history together, but somebody's there and shoots 5 of his
right. And yeah,
men.
this is
But before
when
this, actually, there's a scene between the montage and this, and it's when he goes home
of
to the
course,
lady
yeah,
who is the only one who
right.
gets him.
The only one who understands him.
And so he goes home to her and he's like, what does he say? He says this ridiculous thing. He's like, "I feel like a machine."
Yeah,
That's no way to feel.
that's no way to feel.
And then it's the most awkwardly
It's
shot and
the
edited sex
strangest
scene
thing.
ever.
Yeah,
Not ever, because I've seen some
no,
crazy stuff in these movies.
right.
But this
But
one's
yeah, no,
this
it,
one's
this, which admittedly is like it's almost less uncomfortable than like a standard sex scene
yeah, it
because
is
it's
for
like
sure.
it's just like, but also a little more at the same
It
time because
depends on
it's
what
just
you're looking for, you know?
right, sure, but it's just like it's this close up of like of her hands like massaging his back, but also like like he it's strange. Just look it up or just
And
watch the movie,
his
you
hands
know.
go stiff or her hands go
Yeah,
stiff,
her hands right, and then it's
and then it fades to black.
right. You know what
Um,
that means.
right. And then that's when he finds Buford.
Yeah. Then it's the yeah. He goes out and montages and Buford's and
And so his guy,
so yeah. When
the
he when
Buford's guys get
they're at
shot.
Buford's, yeah. The one guy comes in, gets shot, and it was this this was Bumpy's men doing this, right?
I don't think so. I think this was the
Or
mafia's
it was the
men.
mob.
Yeah.
Okay,
It was the mob's men, because after this is when we find out it was the mob. But before that,
right.
Bumpy, not Bumpy, Ben, his name's Ben, right?
Yeah, Ben was the Black Panther guy. Yeah,
Ben and uh, Richard Roundtree Shaft, Jonathan,
right,
they break
right.
into this old lady's apartment.
Oh yeah,
And it's the most
it's
disgusting. She's decorated it wonderfully. She's a very sweet
it's
old lady who's decorated this apartment
yeah,
great.
but it's a disgusting
But
'70s
it's
New
so
York apartment.
disgusting. I'm so
Yeah,
glad I did not live in the '70s, dude.
right.
Breaks into her apartment and,
And they hide out there for a bit until
in the
the
behind the shutters,
right the mob guys kill I guess all of Ben's guys, presumably,
all of
at
them
least
except Ben, which is it's
right.
5 of it's not all of his guys
Yeah,
in
but
total, it's
everyone that
all the
was
guys who are
there,
with him, which
right,
is
like
5,
five.
and I remember that them saying that
They
later on.
yeah,
So after the mob leaves, the mafia leaves,
and then
they kinda come
then
out.
Ben pulls the fucking old lady's scissors on Shaft.
Yeah, he pulls the scissors and Shaft's like, "Come on, bro. Like, don't do this to me,
And
dude."
then I don't remember what she said, but the lady said something to him too. She was like,
She said,
don't do
"Young
that."
man,
Oh yeah,
please don't
to
do
put those
that.
down.
Put those away." And then he winds up taking them anyway.
Yeah,
But yeah, so now they're tied together. Like they're in this with one another because Ben wants to get the men who killed his men, and Shaft has been
right.
hired to take out the men who killed his men.
Chef's got a job to do. He's getting
So
paid
they
$50 an hour. Come on.
so now they understand it's the mob. They understand like what's happening. So they go back to Buster They go back to Busty Bluth,
Right.
and
This is when we get the hairline reveal.
yes, and they go in, and this man who's his, like, bodyguard, I guess,
Yeah,
he's
he's meant
got
to be
I
like his
don't know how to
bodyguard, one
describe
of
his
them.
hairline.
It's
It's like
no, I know how to
male
describe it
pattern
exactly.
baldness in the back.
It's the exact reverse of Mr. T,
No, it is a
minus the
reverse mohawk, but not really even,
well,
because
not
there's
because
a
it's not
stripe
it's
in the
not
front.
fully yeah, that's true. It's there's the stripe in the front because it's not fully shaved. Like it's presumably just natural
I don't know
baldness. Like
how, dude. There's no way that man didn't, like, spill some Nair replace his shampoo with Nair or
right,
something.
something prank gone wrong. I don't know.
He's that one, you know that video, the dude, like, who's been working out and he's, like, trying to get the shampoo out, but he can't because they just keep squirting more shampoo on his hair.
Oh yeah, I do. Yeah.
It's that guy, but instead it's Nair. He's like, "No, no."
Yeah, but only in one specific strip on
Yeah,
the
it's just a
top,
little streak down the
and
middle.
it never reaches the beginning of his hairline. There's a perfect line, right? He had like a little piece of masking tape over over
It's
that bit of his
moments like
hairline.
this, I wish we edited these and or had an editor to edit these.
Right.
I just wish people
Yeah.
could see this
Hey,
'cause
hey, yo, comment down below if you want to be our editor. We will pay you nothing.
we will pay you no
Nothing.
but
We
there's
will
a
give
but
you nothing.
you know this
But
thing's about to blow up.
we're cool. Yeah, first of all, it's gonna blow up. Second of all, we're fucking awesome, and you get to be friends with us. We're so cool.
Also,
Who
yeah,
wouldn't
no,
want to be
and if
friends with
you're
us?
cool, you can be on the podcast with us.
Yeah, yeah.
A little
And
ownership type piece.
even if you're not cool, you can just like be in like our stupid Discord server. You can just talk to us. We might not like you, but because you're doing work for us, we'll pretend we like you.
Right, we'll
So hit us
play
up.
GoldenEye Source with you.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
We'll play the new Mad Max,
Sure. Mad
Mad
Max
crossover with
Fortnite.
you.
Of
Which Daniel,
course.
we're gonna play
Yeah.
that tonight, right?
Come on, dude. Mad Max Fortnite. What do you think? Hit with the Mad Max in Fortnite.
But yeah, so the hairline is so bad, I don't know what happens in this portion.
www.lebronjameshairline.com.
It's
Look it
worse than LeBron's.
up.
'Cause
No, it's not because it's not even his
LeBron's looked
hairline. It's
yeah,
not his hair. Like
LeBron
I
looked
have a
like
bad
he was
hairline. Look,
naturally
if you're
balding.
watching on YouTube, look at my hairline. That is peak
Or
widow's
Spotify, you
peak
can
male
be
pattern
watching
bald,
on
or on
on
Spotify. Yeah, I have an
yeah,
atrocious
I
widow's
mean,
peak, and it
look,
just keeps getting worse. I'm
my
on
hairline's
I'm
fine,
on
but my
Will
hair's
Arnett,
thinning a
Joel
little bit.
McHale first couple seasons of Community level.
Here, look, so here's the thing.
I'm on any Hollywood celebrity pre hair transplant levels, and it's cool. Like that's fine.
If you
But it's
look at
like
what I'm doing now, like this little streak I'm
yeah,
making
yeah,
down the middle, it's that with a little stripe in the front, and
right.
it's not his hairline, it's literally a
No,
reverse mohawk.
it's fine. Yeah,
And from the
but
front,
not shaved. It's
the funniest part is that from the front, the little like half-inch tuft he has at the front of his reverse mohawk
yeah,
covers it up.
right. No, it does. Like from the front, it looks no from any angle where you can't see the top of his head. Just
And then
looks like
he'll
a
tilt his
normal.
head forward a little bit, and
Yeah,
it'll just look a little lighter.
yeah. No, it does. It just looks like there's like a little bit of shine. Like he put a little gel in his
Yeah,
hair
and
or
then he turns
something,
around and he's got a little male pattern
and it
spot
just
on the
looks like a
back.
normal one. It's like okay, sure. But let's move on from this man and
Well,
his
that's the
atrocious
thing.
hair.
I don't know what happens in this scene
Yeah. No,
because we
this
were
scene
so focused on his hair.
this is it's they he says uh he's like we got a meeting with Bumpy. Willie says they need to search them, and Shaft says no, and they go into the meeting, and
Mhm.
this is when they they get out of him that it was the mob. He finally stops capping about that, and he says he needs this is when Bumpy says he needs Ben's people's help. Like he needs them to go
Right.
to war with the mob,
He says that. He's
basically.
like, "Hey, I told you about Ben because he's got men. We need his men's
Right.
help." And Ben says, "Okay, $10,000 a person,"
Yeah.
which sounds like a lot to me in today money.
Right.
I
And this
can't
was the 70s.
imagine what $10,000 was 60
Yeah.
years ago when this movie came out.
Right.
I'm sorry,
I mean,
50 years
probably
ago.
$10,000, probably $10,000. Just worth more. Probably was the
Well,
same
no,
amount of money. It
well, yeah, yeah, but I mean,
was
like,
worth.
adjusting for inflation. I know what this
Yeah,
is
yeah.
50 years from the time of this release. Like, that's a
No,
ridiculous
yeah,
amount
no,
of money per head.
yeah,
And the guy agrees to pay for it, and he's like, "Yeah, fine, whatever." Like, I could
right.
imagine that would be close to 1,000,000 today. Like, in a modern movie, they'd be like, "Yeah, no, $1,000,000 per head."
I think that's maybe. I don't think inflation has gotten that. I'd say maybe like 100,000 would be like
Maybe.
a more modern thing. I don't know. I don't know how bad inflation is. I don't know. Uh, but
Let's look that up.
I can't
Let's
I
do a
can't I
little
can't, I
inflation
can't
chart
imagine it would have gone from
here.
10,000 to 1,000,000 in 50 years.
Might have, though.
It might have though. It might have been the man with the Midas touch. Who knows?
Oh, maybe.
I doubt it though, but it
Could
would
be,
explain
though.
it because
And this is New
it
York,
turns
right?
everything to go. Yeah, yeah, New York,
New
Harlem
York.
to be exact.
Um, what is $10,000 worth in 2024? 77,000. Okay, so not,
So yeah,
you
so
know,
not even what
well,
I
100
said, but
100K would
100,
be, yeah,
that would be the even number
right.
that they would say. Yeah,
Either
yeah.
way, though, like, that's a
Still,
lot of
yeah,
money
that's a
per
shit ton of
head,
money, right?
per person, 100K per
Yeah,
person,
and
in my
counting
opinion,
the 5 dead ones that the mob
right?
killed. Yeah,
Yeah, because the 5 dead ones, he's like, "Yeah, that's 50,000 right there. Go ahead and drop it." That's
right.
$500,000. That's half a million on that's half a milli
Yeah, it's
on
true.
just
It's
the people who have
definitely
already
today.
died.
It's
But anyway,
crazy.
but yeah, so they start forming this like army, and Shaft starts coming up with a plan. He goes to the bar. This is when he meets his gay friend.
Right.
I
Yes,
don't
we
really.
get
Oh
Chef's
yeah,
gay
yeah,
buddy.
there were mafiosa dudes
Yeah,
at
he
the
was
bar.
there to arrest the mob dudes. Also, before this we meet me. I was in this movie. Never realized it before this viewing. By which I mean there was a stoner looking character with long blonde hair.
Long
The
blonde
chef
hair,
so,
not a
so
mullet though, so he's not you
no,
anymore.
no, he was me. Yeah, me a
Me
week
last week.
ago.
You last
Right,
week, yeah.
for sure.
Um, but yeah, so in the bar, Donald Trump is there. Not Donald Trump, but he
Right.
looks like Donald Trump.
Yeah,
He's
Donald
the
Trump and
mob
some other
boss.
mob guy.
And the bartender is Shaft basically looks at the bartender. He's like, "Hey, let me watch the bar for a second." And he goes and he gets him a little drunk,
Right.
and then he smashes him in the head
He's
with a
yeah,
whiskey
he's
bottle.
well, he's getting them drunk, and he's telling them that he's got a girl across the street that wants him to come over, and
Mm,
he's
I
like
missed
he's
that.
yeah, that's what the me he told him to turn the light on across the street. He was like go upstairs over there and turn the light on in about 5 minutes. Um,
See, I
but
didn't.
yeah,
I'm
then he calls his white dick buddy, and he's like pretending he's talking to this girl, and he's like I'm at this bar, I got these two guys with me, yeah baby, these guys want to meet you real bad, he's like, yeah, it's a fun little scene. He's like,
that's a super fun
that's good.
scene.
Yeah,
Can't believe
must I mean
somehow
we were probably distracted by the titillating boobs comment.
right, right.
That could have
Shaft
been
does
it.
go on to sleep with
uh,
that woman. I think I was
or
distracted
what was
by
the
how
other
much
one,
the guy
what was
looked
the other.
like Donald Trump.
That could have been it. But I'm trying to remember, what was the other one that the gay friend said? It was the
It was just
dark
like
hair. Oh yeah,
amazing or something.
the groovy boob.
Groovy, yeah. But yeah,
Yeah.
so they come and
So shout out.
they arrest the guy, and
Yeah.
then Shaft busts him over
he-
the head with a whiskey
Yeah.
bottle.
Yeah. The one mob boss, he like spits on Shaft, so he just wallops him in the head with a whiskey bottle.
And so Shaft goes back to the precinct, and he is allowed to interrogate them, and he starts interrogating.
Right.
He starts
Yeah.
interrogating them, and basically the point of all of that. Number one, Shaft is trying to figure out what he's trying to figure out. He says something in the interrogation about the case that he's on for Busty Bluth,
Right. That's his name.
and the mafia. So he says something about both of those things, and it shows that the cops are still not on his side because they're not. He comes out of that and he's
Right.
like, "Hey, you like I let you interrogate these guys, but we're not together. We're not on your side. We are not with you. You are a bad man, John Shaft."
Right.
Um but turns out his wires were tapped. And so he sleeps with the girl from the bar. Um, and she said, what does she say when the door gets left open? She's like, "Close it
She's
yourself."
close it yourself, shitty. Well, because first she says she's like you're really great in bed, but you're
No,
pretty
she says,
shitty
"You're a good
afterwards.
lay."
Yeah, you're a good lay, but you're real shitty afterwards.
Yeah.
Come on, baby, close the door. And she says, close it yourself, shitty.
Yeah, and so
And
then the other cop, oh,
apparently,
this is when he swaps his gun.
right, yeah, he gets the pearl handled fucking snub nose instead of his normal handled snub nose.
Right? Instead of his black handle snub nose, he goes with the white handle
Right.
snub nose
Yeah.
because he's facing the mob now and not.
True. Yeah, but no, it's sick. It's a sick looking little pearl handled gun that he keeps wrapped in saran wrap in the
It is
freezer.
yeah, freezer for some reason.
But then
Anyway,
yeah,
the
he
cop
grabs
comes up
that.
and he's like, "Look, dude, you've got me in a lot of trouble. I can't keep dealing with your mess,
The cop
Shaft."
comes in after apparently waiting out there since his little hookup left. And then yeah, he comes in. He's like, yeah, they bugged the room. They heard you say stuff about the mob and stuff about the kidnapping. If it was me, I could look the other way. You're my buddy, but it's this brass. This brass is up my ass. I'm a '70s cop. I got the brass on my ass. Uh,
Yeah,
and
that's what
then
he says.
yeah, that's pretty much what he says. And then he leaves and he goes, "Close it yourself, shitty."
He does say that. He does
Great.
say that exactly verbatim. But yeah, it's we're back. We've reestablished, right? Because it's been a while since we established the dynamics of this movie. We've reestablished and cemented them.
Right.
Um, it's mafia. Well, we've added a fourth actually. It's mafia is against Buster Bluth. Buster Bluth is in a partnership with um John Shaft. John Shaft is in a partnership with the police. The police are against the mafia and Buster Bluth. And so it's like it really is like a Fibonacci spiral. Um,
Sort of. Yeah, for sure.
if as long as when I'm describing them, my hand goes in that direction.
Right.
Which it does when I speak with my hands. But yeah, John Shaft, he calls his Ben. He calls Ben and he's like, "Hey, this is the place I want you to meet me. It's time. We're gonna take these guys down once and for all. We're gonna get the girl back." So they go there. John Shaft gets shot almost instantly.
Yeah.
He
Yeah, well,
does
he tries
nothing
to.
really.
Yeah, he got some. I don't remember how he grabbed that mafia guy, but he grabbed some mafia guy and he's holding him hostage. It does nothing. They just spray him with their Tommy guns.
I mean, just instantly he's down.
And then he gets out of there somehow. How's he get out of there?
I think Ben takes him.
Right. Yeah. They
And
because
in
yeah they
any
just they like
other
kick him a punch and then
and in any other like movie like this, what's gonna happen at this point is he's gonna be, you know, they're gonna like do like a super fake out,
right. This
like, oh,
this is like oh
is
he's
the
down
end
for
of
the count.
Shaft when you know
Oh,
it's not because he's the main
how's he
character,
gonna
whatever.
recover from
This
this
movie
one?
doesn't. He just goes back to
No,
his house. He's
he
like, "Hey, call the doctor who I like," and she's like, "Should I call the real
right.
doctor?" And he's like, "Nah, the one that I like,
No, call the one I like with the cool cardigan. He
the
doesn't say that, but
Hardigan,
the doctor has a cool cardigan. Yeah.
the hard cardigan or Hardigan."
Some would say that, yeah. Not many,
Me,
but certainly some.
but
You
I'm one.
right. So yeah, Dr. Sam
Dr.
is his name,
Morpheus.
as not right. Dr. Michael Morbius sews him up. Uh he and also tapes up his broken wrist. I think that was something he said.
Yeah.
Uh and then he's back out the door. He puts on an all
What are
black
you
fit.
clicking?
Am I clicking something? Oh, maybe it was my chair. I was rotating it.
Maybe
Could
not.
be
No,
that.
I just heard like dragging sound effects, like ding. That's the noise that I just heard.
Oh, it
Ding.
might have been my mic stand adjusting. I don't know.
No, this was like a direct like. Never mind. It wasn't you, but we'll see if it comes up later. It sounded like somebody.
Cool.
It sounded like on a Mac computer, like when you drag something out of a cycle bin, where it goes.
Oh, okay, sure.
But
Right.
ding.
Yeah. All right,
Your
well,
mic stand can't go badang.
no, I can't. I just yeah, I misinterpreted your description of that audio.
Yeah, my bad.
um, but yes, so,
Bading.
so John Shaft gets on his all black his black turtleneck and his
Yeah,
black trench coat
it's
now.
a fit, bro.
It's awesome. Then they go to what is it, like a hotel that
Something like
they're
that,
holding
like
this
maybe a
some
brothel.
somewhere probably not that, somewhere that has like a waiting serving staff, because all the crew, they all get in like little uniforms,
Right.
whatever,
Little
something.
formy-yoons.
um and then Shaft is he's scaling the side of the building and
Yeah, with
he's
a
got
hose pipe?
yeah. um
Yeah, so Shaft is scaling the side of the building. He's got a piece of paper that's drenched in gasoline, not gin,
right,
but
and a
gasoline.
little bit of gin
A
too,
little well,
but
no, I think
most
he
of the
just
gin
drank
is
that mostly.
right. Well, I think
Um,
Ben drank most of it,
and he's
but
got a cigarette in his mouth,
yeah, he certainly
which he hasn't
does.
smoked a single cigarette in this whole
No.
movie, but he's got one in his mouth here. He lights this thing with his cigarette, throws it in the window really hard. It shatters the glass, which is made of paper, so I don't understand how. And it doesn't
Right.
matter because it wasn't important.
It's
The
yeah,
mob
just
boss looks at that and he goes, "Oh no, what just came through my window?" And then a
what's
shaft
that?
busts in.
Yeah, and then he shafts all of them. He
He does.
all like two people that were in that room. He
It was just the guy. It was the guy and then
was
the
just
and
the
then Buster's daughter.
right, yeah. So yeah, he shafts the one dude and then takes little Buster Jr. out the
Little Busty.
takes little Busty, and then
That's a hard rap name.
it's not.
Could you
But
imagine being known as Lil Busty? Anyway, so they escape,
they
and
escape. Yep.
he puts them in the
There's
cab.
a lot of some action stuff. There's a little more shooting stuff
A little
happens.
bit, not a ton
A
of
little, not
action
much.
in general
No,
in this movie.
no, not really.
Which is
I
fun,
mean,
don't
there's
get
a
me wrong,
little,
I
yeah,
love this movie, but it's
it's
not
awesome.
super
There
action
was there was
heavy.
a little bit in that end, but not much, and it wasn't really involving Shaft. It was more like there was like the goons getting into some
It
stuff.
was mostly goon business.
Yeah, I mean
But anyway,
when
so
you're with me,
they
it's always
escape, he goes to the
business.
phone booth, he calls the was it the cop he
Yeah,
called?
yeah, it was White Dick. Yeah,
Which it doesn't matter because it was all ADR, so who knows what the
right.
original ending was supposed to be, and it was all
Yeah,
ADR'd with clips from earlier in the movie, which was nuts.
I
And
guess.
then the
Yeah,
movie
I
doesn't
that, but
end as much as it just stops happening.
it just sort of stops. Yeah, I mean it does sort of just end, but yeah,
Um,
so he just yeah, he calls the cop. He's like, I busted your case wide open. Then he says the close it yourself shitty line
right,
again.
right. Which
ADR
again,
the
because it was the
70s.
same clip they pulled to close it, you
Right.
can't, you know what I mean?
Right.
Um,
Well, I mean it wasn't because it was a different person saying it, so definitely.
maybe.
I, I mean, one was Richard Roundtree saying it. The other was a white man. The first was a white woman. So
Right.
I'm pretty sure maybe it was all the same thing. I doubt it though.
But so yeah, so this movie that does bring up the one point I want to talk about just very briefly,
Right,
which
right.
is the fact that half of this movie is ADR and half of it isn't. And it's one of those
Yeah,
things
this
where if you're gonna do that, you need to just commit. If you're gonna fully ADR your movie, fully ADR your movie. It'll be fine.
sure. Yeah,
Don't ADR half of it and not the other half, which is what they wound up doing. And it's fine. It definitely doesn't like ruin the movie or anything, but it takes me out a little bit. When Shaft is
yeah.
talking and he's like, "Yo,
It is.
word
Yeah,
up, my name is John Shaft."
the one the I was born poor, and I was born black.
Yeah, yeah, it's
That
I
one's yeah.
was
That one is blatant, but most
I
of the
was
ones that
born
you like.
poor and I was born black. And it's
But
like,
most
okay.
of the ones you pointed out, like I wouldn't, like I maybe would have noticed, but I wouldn't have thought about if your autism didn't point them out to mine.
See,
You
I
know?
noticed it
Right.
go
Well,
to.
because you've got
Yeah,
audiotism, and it's
right.
it's cool, it's chill,
It helps me host a podcast.
Right.
No, I noticed it from the first time they did it. I was like, "Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, 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 yeah." And then the end scene was just the worst for me because it's this very last scene. It's your big emotional climax. Everything's just happened. And it's like, as he's talking, it's like, "Yo, what's up? Other cop." And it's like all these
Right.
different audio sources and inflections all kind of stitched together, which is fine. It tells the story. It's great. I love this movie.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm gonna
Movie or
love
movie.
this. I feel like I'm gonna love next week more, knowing absolutely nothing about it.
Mhm.
This feels like a franchise that gets better the worse it gets.
Right. Probably. Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I feel like each installment's
I
gonna
think
get a little
that's
bit worse, and
yeah.
it's
I mean,
gonna
I
get
think
a little bit
that's
more
kind of black
enjoyable.
exploitation in general.
For sure. No, that I mean, to me, and I think this is a looking back thing, like looking back at black
Mhm.
exploitation. I'm sure as it was coming out, this was not the case. I think
Right.
black
Yeah.
exploitation is one of those genres that the more absurdist and silly it gets, the better it is for a viewer. And
For
maybe it's
sure.
like the better it holds up to time. I don't know. But
Maybe.
I'm
Yeah.
for sure like I am all in on Shaft. I'm really excited for next week, which is
Right.
the third movie. It's the one that put a
Yeah.
pause on the franchise.
Yeah. It certainly
You
did.
know what I
Well,
mean?
sort of, because it went to TV for a bit after that. There were
Sure. It put a pause on
we had
the
a couple
theatrical
TV. Yeah.
franchise. And then I'm excited for the requel and then the re-requel.
Right.
I
Right.
think I
Two
think it's
requels.
yeah,
Two
I'm
Sam
really excited.
Jacksons.
Daniel, do you have any like final kind of thoughts on this?
Um, I'm going to get laid.
Right. He says that.
He certainly
His
does.
name's John.
Yeah, Shaft, actually.
Would you recommend this movie to a friend?
Oh, for sure. You know what? I'd even recommend this one to an enemy. You
Mm.
know,
I probably wouldn't.
I
I
don't
don't
think I
want him to
really
have a
have.
good enough time.
I don't really have enemies. You
Well, you
know,
recommended it to me.
that's true. That's true. You are my enemy for sure. But yeah, no, I mean, I think this movie, everyone deserves it. You know, even someone I hate. You know, I think this is the movie that that breaks the cynicism that's surrounding my cold dead heart
Mm.
for sure.
I
It's
would
John Shaft. It
definitely. I think
shatters that.
I would recommend this to a friend. I don't think our second question we typically ask. I don't think this movie holds up.
No, not really,
It's a
but it
little
does for
dirty. It's a
me.
lot
It does for
dingy.
me. It's real dingy and real dirty, and but it holds up in my heart.
Dude, it's real gross, and it's real yeah, but I like it, it just doesn't hold up, which is fine. A movie doesn't have to hold up.
Right. Not everything has to
Um,
hold up. As long as it, they say beauty's in the eye when you hold her. So
they say that beauty is John.
they say the world's your oyster, man, but oysters ain't for me.
They
You
say
know,
that I'm John Shaft.
I don't think they've ever said that.
At least I've said that.
Are you? Are you a they slash them?
Yeah, you didn't know that? And I'm John
I
Shaft. I'm
I
both of
didn't.
those things.
I've been misgendering you for years. I'm so sorry
Yeah, well,
about
you
that.
shouldn't be,
I
but
didn't
it's
mean to
okay.
offend. Mean to offend you. That's
Yeah, I
my
mean, it's
fault.
fine, though. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
not
that's my
upset
fault.
about it. Like,
Yeah, no,
I'm
it's
not
my fault.
tripping.
Yeah, no,
I'm a
like
little
it's my fault. It's my
yeah.
fault. It's my hey, my fault.
Send this movie to someone you know named Jonathan. Send it to Daniel's dad
Yep,
as per usual. Daniel's dad,
yep,
I'm sorry
yeah.
about this
Uh,
episode in particular.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Not our
I'm not.
strongest.
I'm not sorry. Uh, so you take what you get. You know.
Daniel's dad also.
Hey, if you don't love us at our worst, you don't deserve us at our best. You know, that's
If
all
you
I'm
don't
saying. And
love
that
us
goes for
at
you too,
our
Dad. That goes for you
shaft
especially,
one,
Dad.
if you don't love us at
Right.
our shaft one, you don't deserve us at our Mad Max 3 Beyond Thunderdome.
That is true. That is a true fact. But thanks for watching.
Yeah.
Share this right.
Write something kind in the comments. Please
Yeah, but go be nice to someone. Go say just give a compliment to
be nice
someone.
to us.
Yeah, be nice to
Hey,
us.
Dan, pull off the
Give us
headphones
a
real quick
dollar.
so everybody can see your mullet.
Oh yeah, check it out. The mullet, it's real fucky. I don't know if that's just how mullets are, or if it's like it's like too long, like where the I feel like it should be shorter fading into it, but
Mm,
it's drippy, dude. It's hard. You see
they
that?
can fix that next time.
What are you saying? Like I had headphones
Oh,
off.
they can fix that next time, you know.
Right, for sure. Yeah.
Thanks
Yeah,
for
I'm gonna get it
watching.
trimmed up in a couple
Join
months.
us
Probably get it
next week.
shorter. Send this to someone with a mullet.
Yeah,
Go out if
go
you've been
outside,
wanting to
touch
get a mullet.
grass.
Sure, go outside. If you're listening to this podcast, go the fuck outside. But if you've wanted to get a mullet for a while, go do it. Or if you don't, if you've always thought mullets look stupid and you would never get a mullet in a million years, go get a mullet because I told you to.
If you don't have hair long enough to get a mullet, just go get a stupid skin fade.
Yeah,
Like
if
up to like your normal hair, like mohawk.
right,
Actually,
yeah,
no, reverse that. If you think they're stupid and you've never wanted one, go to your barber and have the center of your head shaved from the middle
yeah,
of the back to
yeah,
right
right,
before your
right to
hairline.
right before your hairline. So there's
Leave
just a
about a half
perfect little
inch.
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it for this episode of Semi Pro. Thank you guys so much. Next week we're going to be watching Shaft 3, Shafrica,
It's
Shaft
gonna
in Africa,
take on the international slave trade, I think. So good for him.
which I'm excited. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you
No
then.
shaft among the Jews, though. Shame, shame.